Aloha mai kako. A Kamamari Curtain Call, a program of reviews, previews, interviews, and features of and or with the great art and artists on Maui and beyond. I'm Paul James Brown. Before I begin my review, I need to correct an error. Last week I stated there were 3 people who were still in the original cast of Come From Away. There are actually 6 original cast members. I missed Joel Hatch as Claude, the mayor of Gardner, Patrina Bromley, who I misidentified as Sharon Wheatley, who plays Bonnie, the first-time reporter, and Q Smith, who plays Hannah, whose most powerful scene involves her role as a mother of a New York City firefighter. I apologize for the error, and I want to express my gratitude to Vanya Jerome for sending me the correct information. For 22 years, Ebb Flow Arts has been presenting challenging modern and contemporary composers performed by the leading exponents of new music in the world. According to their website, Ebb Flow Arts has presented 140 concert multimedia events in Maui, Oahu, Kauai, Hawaii Island, California, Japan, South Korea, and Mexico. These events included performances of 498 works by 163 composers, 93 world premieres, 170 Hawaii premieres, 10 biennial presentations by the Maui Arts and Cultural Center, 14 international festivals, 22 KHPR radio broadcasts, 9 4-hour Mana'o radio broadcasts, 63 informances, 5 public lectures, and 1,267 school music lessons. During this time, they have cultivated one of the most sophisticated audiences for contemporary music anywhere. Last week, they presented their annual multi-day, multi-site event, North, South, East, West Festival 2021 at the Intimate Pro Arts Playhouse in Kihei. Entitled Music from Around the World, it featured solo, duet, and trio performances of modern and contemporary composers, performed by Ebb Flow Arts founder, pianist, and composer Robert Pollack. Concert master of the Hawaii Symphony and longtime member of the Ebb Flow Ensemble, Ignatz Jang, and principal cellist of the Hawaii Symphony, Sung Chan Chang. The program began with a world premiere of Mr. Pollack's piece entitled Egrets. It is an oral visualization of these beautiful seabirds interpreted from his visits to Shinhee Park. Listen to this excerpt. You will see these long-legged creatures high-stepping in the seashore. Next was Sonatine number 324 by the modern French composer Darius Milhaud for violin and cello. Composed in 1955 in 3 movements, animé, moderne, and vite, the first movement almost sounded like a modern take on a square dance. The closing movement, Beat, was swift and featured fine interplay between Mr. Jang and Mr. Chang. Then Mr. Jang soloed on the 3 movements of Korean composer Shinhee Park's Polyphonic Songs, which was commissioned by Ebb Flow Arts and premiered on February 15, 2020 in Honolulu. Mr. Jang is a virtuoso violinist, and this piece called on all of his skills. Here are a few excerpts. Mirror Lake is Korean composer-pianist Sin Young Park's oral portrait of a lake in Wisconsin. Ms. Park says about the work, quote, "I wanted to express such reflection images of the lake and the movement of calm and furious waves," unquote. See if you can hear that in these clips. The most challenging work of the evening belonged to Mr. Chang. He played the four movements of Isang Yun entitled Glisses. This work's four movements endeavor to explore all the ways the cello can be played. Thomas Osborne, a composer from Oahu, gave us the swaying, waking song of the water. This was also an Ebb and Flow Arts commission and premiered on February 15, 2020 on Oahu. Mr. Pollack told me, quote, "These commissions are part of a 20-year ongoing musical cultural exchange with Veritas Musicae, Seoul, Korea. Veritas Musicae just had their annual recital in Seoul on November 11, 2021. In cooperation with Ebb and Flow Arts, with four works by Americans commissioned by Ebb and Flow Arts," unquote. This is a duet for violin and piano. The closing work was the last piece by the great modern composer Elliot. It was done on his 103rd year on this planet. It's called Epigram, and it is 12 conversations between and among the violin, cello, and piano. Mr. Pollack did a most instructive introduction.
This would be almost, not quite, but his last utterances. In the piano. These are so-called tonal triads, traditional, that's A major, that's C minor. So for example, from the Beethoven 7th Symphony. Etc. Or C minor, as in Chopin's Ocean Etude. And so Carter here seems to be giving us a final wink, as if to say, despite all my freely dissonant composition over several decades, the tonal triad, the chord of nature, persists and is here to stay.
And then they performed these humorous and light one-minute songs. Ebb and Flow Arts is a passionate presenter and creator of great new music that has exposed Maui and other parts of the world to not only some of the best new music, but also to some of the world's top musicians in intimate as well as large concert settings. Their work is singular and has served to broaden the musical appreciation of this island and everywhere they perform. Mahalo to Robert Pollack for building a great arts organization. Don't miss their next show. Go to www.ebbandflowarts.org to sign up for event notifications. That's Curtain Call for this week. Mahalo nui loa for tuning in. I'm Paul James Brown. Ahui ho.